All right. All right, here we go. This is our May presentation here at Kentuckiana FileMaker Developers Group. And today we have Fabrice Nordmann, who is of the award-winning One More Thing and also FMCloud hosting. And he's going to talk to us about some of the stuff that they do over there. So Fabrice, it's all yours.
So yes, thank you very much for having me again. I was we did with Romain, who is also going to present with me the session. We were here, I think, a couple of years ago to present FMCloud.fm, and you were kind enough to ask me to present the new stuff that we have, and indeed there is a lot to present. So. First, I will do a little, catch up for about what is FileMaker hosting on a Docker architecture. We'll go through that principle very quickly. We'll try not to dive too much into the techniques of it, just to understand, the benefits that one can get with that architecture. And then of course we'll demo all that, and especially today we have a big news. So now I just need to find how I should share my screen again.
Yeah, you should be all set to be able to share.
Sorry, yeah, it's here, but it's
there you are.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay, so about the FileMaker and Claris platform cloud running on Docker. So indeed, the big news today is that we completely automated the deployment and management of the Claris platform as well as the FileMaker platform. So as of today, it is as easy for you to deploy a Claris server and have access to Claris Studio and everything that it was already with FileMaker. And I'll demo this a little bit further down. So now Romain, who's the brain behind FMCloud.fm, will give you a word about what is the point of what is the difference between Docker and virtual machines that you have, and then I'll see you just later on for the demo. Romain?
Okay, thank you, Fabrice. So hi, everyone. Yes, the point here is to explain you, I think many of you may have seen us a few years ago when we present for the first time our FMCloud platform. So I will just give you some insight of what is a container, just to remember, and for the new people joining. So a container is really different than a virtual machine. It acts. It may seems to be the same, but it's totally different. It's run at a process level. It's not a virtual machine. There's no guest OS. When you have a virtual machine, you have to install a full operating system. With a container running on Docker or other container platform, you don't need to install a new OS. You just use the main machine to run a process which will be isolated from the rest of your system. You can go, yeah, it's Linux only. It doesn't mean that it can only run on Linux. You can have it on macOS or on Windows, but when you run it under macOS or Windows, it's running inside a virtual machine which is spawned on your guest OS. So it can run inside virtual machine. You can have a Linux virtual machine and run your Docker inside this machine. And it's isolated from the environment. So when you spawn a new process, the process thinks he's inside its own machine. He doesn't see the rest of the OS. He doesn't have access to the user, the home user, the system settings, etc. It just starts from a point of the server and doesn't see the rest of the OS. He doesn't know even the other process which are running on the same system. And yes, unlike virtual machine, you can run a Docker inside another Docker container. You can have multiple child process which are run as Docker. Yeah, and there's no graphical UI. It's just all with command line. So just like Linux servers. So what's the difference with a virtual machine? First, on a virtual machine, there's an hardware level process isolation. So all the process are run inside some hardware blocks, and they have to how to explain that? They have to pass a virtualization process, which costs some CPU and RAM. So yes, as I said earlier, there's a full OS. So you have your host OS, then you run your virtual machine, which has its own OS. So you have two operating system which will be installed on your two or more operating system installed on the same machine. And it takes a long time to boot. When you start a new virtual machine, then the OS has to boot. So it's really long. When, especially if you have a Windows, for instance, you may know how long it can take to start your system. And as you have your OS and everything installed on it, then it's really heavy. You have lots of gigabytes that will be used just for the OS, just for all the component that needs to be run inside your virtual machine. Yeah, so, and creating is the same as booting. It takes a long time because it has to copy the image and etc. So everything in this code, you have more resource usage. It will use RAM to run the OS. It will use CPU to run the OS, etc. On the container side, as there's just an OS level process isolation, that means that you have only one OS, one Linux running, and it will start a new process, just a new program, and that's it. So booting a container, starting a container is just running a process, just start a new application. So each container will share the OS, the host OS, and if you have, you can have CentOS as the host for Docker and run Ubuntu container inside as Docker containers. So there will be some few process and few files that will need to run, but each container will share the same image. So if you have one image of Ubuntu, for instance, with FileMaker installed on this, if you run 3 or 4 container on the same 3 or 4 FileMaker servers on the same machine, they won't use the gigabytes of the system and FileMaker install each time. It will always reuse the same files, so it will only cost 1 for n containers. And as I said, as it's just a process that needs to run, it boots in second. There's no boot. It's really lightweight, and you just start the service, and that's it. It's like if you have already your computer which is booted. And yes, it can be created in seconds because just because of this. and so there's very few resource usage. So here is a small graphic that will show you what's the difference. So on your left, there's a virtual machine where you can see there's a server hardware, host OS, and then the hypervisor, which will run the virtual machine. And on each virtual machine, you will have a guest OS, where you will install all your libraries, your application, and you will be able to run your app. And each time you will need to run a virtual machine, you will have all these columns that will need to be created. On the other side, in Docker containers, then you still have your server hardware and your host OS. But then you have the Docker engine that will just spin up the libraries that you need and will use all the host OS resources to run this app. So you don't have the guest OS isolation. So you have the guest OS installation. So, and of course, each time you run the same image, for instance, 19.5 and 19.4 FileMaker server, then the libraries and binaries will be reused. So they will count only once. So that's the point with Docker. And I get the end to Fabrice to tell you why it's really a game changer for the hosting service and for you.
Yeah, thank you, Romain. I hope that was clear for everyone. So basically, the thing to remember is it's much faster. It uses a lot less resources, and yeah, and basically, apart from making our team happy, there is also some benefits for you as users. So the main benefit, I mean, we can compare the performance and everything, and yes, it's faster, and yes, but what the main difference is the cost per performance ratio. This is where it's like it cannot compare. Basically, you pay the price for a very small server, and what you get in return is a beast of power. This is basically why it's so efficient. It's first because it takes a lot less resources, and second, we are able to allocate resources dynamically. So if someone is, of course, we can set limits, so everyone is guaranteed to have 4 CPUs at all times and so on. But if someone at certain point is, exporting records or producing a heavy report or everything, then we are able to dynamically allocate more CPUs for that instance of the server. No one will notice, no one will be slowed down, but your process is going to be much, much faster than on the same price virtual machine where you have a finite number of CPUs and resources. Not to say that on Docker it's infinite. That wouldn't be true either, but it's variable. So if you need more, you get more just like that. You don't have to reboot or anything. It's just your script is using more CPU, you get more. You don't even have to stop your script and so on. It's just completely dynamic. Then, of course, because of what Romain explained, we are able to upgrade a server in a few seconds. Actually, it takes exactly 0 seconds. What it takes is the time to close the databases that are open. And this is sometimes a little bit slow in FileMaker. So, but usually it takes, just a few seconds to shut down the databases. And then, boom, we spawn a new server with the new version. And with the click of a button on our side, we're able to update hundreds of servers in one go. So this is from our end. It's very, very efficient, and for you too, because then there is almost no downtime, even when there is a major upgrade from in a new FileMaker version. Another side effect of that is that we support downgrade too. So, and this is important because downgrading a FileMaker server used to be very complex. So there used to be a risk in updating because we knew that if we found a bug, then downgrading might mean several minutes, of downtime. Now this is not the case anymore. So even if we are careful and we don't, we tend to wait for a few weeks before we apply a new update, there is really no risk. I mean, more and more people are interested in having the new version as soon as it's published or in the very next days, because they know that if ever we're encountering an issue with the new version, we're able to downgrade in just a second. So it's a nice side effect of that. Also, that's pretty new. I mean, it wasn't the case when last time we were in Kentucky, if I can say so. But now we have completely integrated Auto. Maybe Auto, the tool from Proof and Geist, which is a fantastic tool to manage version and updates. And so now it's integrated. I mean, it's an option, of course, because there's a license for that, but we provide also the license and we can install it on demand. It's very easy. And PHP is also pre-installed. That's a free option on our Pro plan, but it's we don't install it by default. You can just ask and we do it. We install it. And this is very nice because you can even host some PHP code on the server. So you can even run, why not, a little website directly on the same server, or maybe only the PHP pages that interact with the database for optimal performance. Also, this is also a new thing. I mean, maybe from a year or so. But if you have a server with us with your FileMaker license, and you need a secondary server or a third server for test pro for the dev test prod environment, then you can get it for a very, very low price. And yeah, we have developed many more goodies, like for instance, I like this one, that you are able to export directly from a FileMaker script. You're able to export directly to the htdocs folder, so make a file immediately available to the web or even to your own web viewers. So it's very handy if you use a lot of JavaScript and web viewer interfaces in your FileMaker applications. Lastly, or maybe it's not lastly, we have some partnership programs. I'll go very quickly through them, but of course we have a referral program. If you recommend, you get rewarded. This is like a very basic thing. We have a hosting service program. So some hosting services are now using our architecture and technology. And we work with them as a white label. So anyone can, with few customers, can become a very modern cloud service just using our technology and keeping control of all the business that goes on top of that. And then we have a certain type of a partnership that we call Campus. It's dedicated for universities who yes. No, sorry. It's called Campus, and it's dedicated for universities who usually have lots of databases everywhere created in labs and research teams and students and everything. And it's very difficult for them to cope with servers and security and so on. So for them, we have a special partnership program that allows them to use our technology on their hardware. The cloud would be maybe too expensive for the universities and so on. So they can use our technology on their hardware, on their premises. And our partners can manage servers and containers with just a very simple interface like that, which is an open source file that they can, plug in their ERP, or it's just a small console calling our APIs, so they can, create a new server, update it, downgrade it, anything. And of course, they also have access to. They can also deploy Auto or PHP. They can do pretty much everything we can do. And they also have access to our advanced monitoring system, which allows them, just to know pretty much everything that is going on a server, and anticipate problems and so on. And now comes the very tense time of the demo. Wish me luck. So, sorry. Yeah. So I will, can you still see my screen? Yes. So here I'm coming to the FMCloud.fm website, and I just wanted to show you the new things. So yeah, one of them is the chatbot. That is a very nice way to deploy a FileMaker server, or to find information about licensing. So basically, if you have a question, what is the best license for me? This bot can finally give you the best answer. And that includes the Claris platform licensing. And it can also deploy a server for you in a few seconds. You'll find some videos which I find always impressive, like in less than a minute, talking to this bot, you get the if you watch this video. I'll let you do this later on. And then I thought we had a map somewhere. No, sorry, it's here. We have a map of our data centers. With one spot. Spot highlights the one that is the nearest from your place with the best response time. And of course, you can calculate the price of what your hosting plan should be. So let's try. And today I'm going to take a little risk. It's our first day where we completely automated the Claris platform thing. So let's try to deploy a Claris server, and maybe go through, if you have time, a little demo about Claris Studio and so on, and how it integrates. So I'll take a server not too far from where I am. And I will at proto.me. And I can calculate the price, and see I have 3 plans. And let's switch to USD for our American audience. And this is the price that you get here. And you can play around with the number of users. So for instance, let's say if I have 5 users, you can see we have plans as of 49 per month only. And let's say, oh, no, if you're 20, it goes not more than that. So let's start with the Claris platform plan that includes Connect and Studio. And then, the form remembers what I entered last time, but it's not taking much time. You can request for a new license, or say you have already one. And here, as you see, we have 3 license plans. Why is it sorry? Oh yeah, because I said it was in France. So in France it's euros. So let's say I'm in the United States. So you will now find prices that you know. So we have the user license, concurrency, site, You can change for the duration and so on. And you've got the Claris, the license that you can purchase directly from us, or you can, of course, bring your own license. So again, our map, let's select the data center here, and let's go for a free trial. I'll deploy a server called demo Claris at FMCloud.fm. Then I've got a little summary. I can see if and then I can deploy a free trial. Oh, this is, I don't know what the phone number should look like. I think this D. Sorry for that. Yes, okay, so I had why isn't it working? It's how many digits per? Okay, should skip that part. I'm sorry about that. I didn't think that would be an issue. Is this not correct number?
Fabrice, the American numbers have 10 digits.
So I missed one, yeah?
Oh, no? Oh, you did have 10. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. So I'm sorry, I'm going back there because I mean, I know it works for every country usually, but okay. Okay, that's it. And that's all I have to do. I'm sorry about this order thing. Anyway, and now I need I will go to my inbox, and very soon you will see I receive a confirmation. For now, what I can do is I open FileMaker, sorry, not FileMaker, I've got to get used to that. It's not FileMaker anymore, it's Claris Pro. And I'll create simply a new file. I will call my app, my demo app. And that's all I need to do. I will check in the security dialog that this is my account. This is correct. I will just make sure that I have access through, you know, the Claris network, FM app. And maybe, yeah, and that's it. And I'll just modify this file so we know it's this one. I'll say hello world. And that's it. And where are we with that? Yeah, I just received now the confirmation. So my server is already online, right? So I can get my password from here. I'll copy it to here, and I can immediately access my admin console. It's already here. So it was demo Claris. Paste the password, and that's it. Because my Mac is in French somewhere, I think I need to change the language, but that's it. So my server is online already. I go back to my Claris Pro thing, and I will now upload this database. Of course, I need to close it. I need to create a new host here. It's called demo Claris. Sorry, that's not that short. .fmcloud.fm. Yeah, why not? Okay, again, please. Yeah, demo Claris. paste. And here I am. So I can just upload this file. And done. And now the file opens and I'm in the cloud. And as you can see, the file is open here and I have one user using Pro. That's me. That's easy, isn't it? And now I don't know if you have already been, trying testing to Claris Studio, but since we are here, I think I can take you a few minutes just to show you how this integrates with Claris Studio. So I can just, just manage my database just like with any other FileMaker app. Now it's called Claris, but it's the same. And here I have some Claris Studio data source. And here are the databases or the tables I already have on Claris Studio. So that's the thing. I can connect to that, and they come just here like that, and create layouts so I can see my data. So I could go back to Claris Studio, which is my studio account. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to change the language of that interface. So it's in French, but I guess that's very understandable for anyone. Create a new hub. Hub, by the way, is not a French word, if you want to know. And let's say registration. And I can add views. So for instance, let's add a form view, very simple. I can modify that view. So let's call the registration page or registration form. And then I can add fields. So that would be first name, another field, last name, and so on and so forth, right? And now let's simply publish that. I think that's all I need to do. I'll copy that link. And I can, well, I don't even need that. Then I can see my form. Sorry. So I can see normally the form in action. I'll say my first name is Fabrice. Nordmann is my last, and click send. And then there's a confirmation page that I didn't take the time to update. So, okay, so I have already some data now in my MongoDB database. I can go back to my file here. I will go here and add a table occurrence of a Claris Studio. Which one is that? Is that this one? Yes, I think is the one I created. I forgot to change the title, and that's it. I have my records here. So that's how easy it is, right? So before that, of course, because Claris Server is Linux only. It's pretty, I mean, you've got to have some expertise to deploy a Claris server. It's not very hard, but it's not something you just want to do just like that, just to try, right? So now, because FMCloud.fm just allows such a simple deployment, I guess there's just no reason not to try it anymore. I mean, there's really nothing more than what I I just show you. It's like very simple. Just come to our website, deploy a free trial. It's completely free, no credit card information, nothing. Just deploy it, and you're all set. And that's it. It's really, it could not be simpler, I think. Yeah, I mean, you still have to have a Claris ID, but okay. I mean, it makes the transition to the Claris platform very easy, I believe, I hope. And that's it for the demo. Apart from this phone number issue, I think it went pretty well. I don't know. So just a few commands here. This Nick Lightbody, you know, is testing. I don't know if you know him. He's been a mad tester of everything related to FileMaker Server for years already. He's the reference in terms of FileMaker testing. And already 3 years ago, he tested our service, and that's what he said after he discovered Docker. And that was before we even improved the service again. Another example of a customer testimonial. So wondering why is it so much faster on our architecture than on his previous provider? Well, that's for the reason Romain explained in the first place. It's you get an incomparable performance per cost ratio. That's and that's it with the presentation. So now it's time to thank you and to welcome your questions. Maybe should I stop the screen sharing?
Yeah, probably. Well, thanks for the presentation, Fabrice, and I can actually offer up a testimonial myself. I use FMCloud.fm for myself and for my employer/client, and yeah, I can absolutely attest to the price point was a huge advantage. We were previously using AWS servers, and the cost was going through the roof. So we were really happy to find FMCloud.fm stemming from a couple years ago when you presented here. So yeah, I can definitely attest that I've been extremely happy with FMCloud, and so just to offer that up as a testimonial.
Thank you.
Yeah, also, another one. I have a couple with them too, and it's excellent.
I agree. I've got my dev server and I've got a couple clients up on it, so it's been wonderful.
So everyone is already our customer.
Yeah. there must be some in here that aren't already on your servers. Beverly, do you have your hand up? Is that?
I do, yes. And the question that always comes up with being cloud hosted, whether it's through you or other hosts or Claris, is the latency and where are the servers in relation to the clients. Is there an issue for anybody at any point in time?
Is there?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understood. I mean, there is a latency issue, of course. I mean, it's the same. Was your question specific to Claris platform? Or?
No, just saying, that's one issue that the clients come up with. Why don't I host my own? Because I know it's right here and it's going to be faster because I don't have to go across the world to get it, kind of thing. Are there comments?
Yeah. For instance, I mean, we have data centers. You can look at the map. We have data centers pretty much where the demand grows.
Okay, cool.
Currently, we're looking into having more in South America, where we are not for now.
Yeah.
For North America, actually, we have excellent performance from anywhere. I mean, it has to be said also that the internet network is really, you know, growing fast. And I mean, we are not building that's not our responsibility. Let's make it clear. But but it has been. It's true that it has this latency issue is not as it was before. I mean,
Okay,
we
good.
can even work on. We are located in Europe, and I've been working. The other day, I was working on a server located on the East Coast on the United States. It was like really acceptable. So this is pretty new.
Yeah, and if you have a look to our map on our website, if you just hover the dots, you will see your latency. It's calculated from your location, so
Oh, awesome.
you can know what's the best location. Well, the map already shows you which one is the best for you, but you can just hover the dots and you will see the latency.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So even if you have a customer which is interested, then just ask him to go to this map, and he will tell you what's the best location.
If you have a large application that requires, you know, less latency in order to function normally, then you might want to switch to WebDirect, which cuts down on a lot of those latency issues because there's not as much data going back and forth across the lines. So
yeah, that's been my experience.
Thanks,
from an on-premises server to going to the cloud in AWS and then going into FMCloud. You know, there's no doubt you're never going to beat the speed of an on-premises server when you're running from the cloud. But for me, the trade-off was, I mean, hosting, especially hosting with FMCloud, like it's out of sight, out of mind. I never have to worry about the server.
Yeah.
When we were hosting on-prem, I had to worry about the server machine, server upgrades, all the stuff that goes along with that. And when you're dealing with a small client, a small office, you know, I came up in this industry being just the guy that kind of got designated to put in a server and didn't know what I was doing and had to kind of figure it out. So I did pretty well with it, but I was really happy to finally get to be able to just kind of offload that whole responsibility to somebody who knows how to handle it all better than I do. So it's definitely, for me, it was just a huge, you know, stress off my plate to be able to, you know, put it in the cloud. And I agree with Jonathan, like, you know, there's absolutely a sacrifice in speed when you go to the cloud, but you know, our response to that was to pretty much convert everything to WebDirect compatible. And now the speed is, you know, through WebDirect is much better than trying to use the FileMaker client. And it's really no longer an issue. So
yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
also
you got to remember that I used to be a hosting provider and did all of this, but you know, and now that I'm semi-retired, I'm always looking for where I can have people go, and this really does seem like a really good option. So thanks.
Yeah, and I have also, I mean, and the 2023 version makes it even easier, you know, to do things on the server side, like script on server now with callback and so on. So you can even use FileMaker as a client, and I mean, there's really ways now to design very, very slim applications, you know, where the heavy work is done on the server side. And one of the consequences of Docker, and that was a bit of a good surprise that this Nick Lightbody study highlighted, was that it's incredibly more stable in terms of how many PSOS sessions can run simultaneously without you know, any impact on the performance issue, you know, performance on the server. So yeah, you can do a lot on the server side now.
So I have a couple questions. The first one is, there are a number of logs that you can run from FileMaker Server, not all of them available through the admin console. How can you spin those up from FMCloud?
Number of logs?
Yeah, there's a number of log routines that can be run. They're in a directory in FM server that not all of them are exposed through the admin console.
No, indeed, you can't. I mean, partners who have access to the SSH. You know, there's this partnership program where the partners, they have the console and they access the servers through SSH, and they have access to everything. But apart from that, no, indeed the logs that are not exposed are indeed not exposed by us either.
Okay. Second question, what's the recommended practice for doing offsite archival backups?
Wait, sorry?
One do offsite backups. I've got clients that require the backups be stored in secondary locations.
So by default, I mean, it's all our customers, we do offsite backups every night. So that's included in the price. In the price, everything is included, which means you have, of course, the storage, hourly backups, daily backups, weekly backups by Bev, and also offsite backups are encrypted and moved offsite every night. So
yeah, I've got government clients that require 5 years worth of monthly backups maintained.
No, so we don't keep that for 5 years.
Yes.
So, but they, of course, are allowed to download the backups through via SFTP. So they have access to their backups anyway. So then they can set up routines to download the backups every day.
Okay. You familiar with any products, SFTP products you can schedule?
With the sorry, the sound is not so.
Are you aware of any SFTP products that can be scheduled?
Oh, yeah, you can of course schedule. Romain can give you.
You can. Yes, you can do well. The FTP can be scrapped from any script, so yes, you can just automate your own script to download your backups at any time.
Yeah, and since FileMaker 2023, which supports SFTP as well, you can even manage this in FileMaker.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. I know that when we were working with you guys on FTP, the only FTP client we could get to work reliably was FileZilla.
Yeah, FileZilla, because it supports SFTP in a very nice way.
Mm-hmm.
Some other do, but it's more complex to set up. FileZilla is indeed very it's straightforward. But now with FileMaker Pro is also a good SFTP client.
Okay, I'll have to try that.
What about data migration?
Excuse me, Elan?
How do we handle data migration if we're trying to update a copy there and we pull it down and pull it back up? I mean, I'm familiar now with I just take it offline and put it back up. Is that how we do it or what?
Yeah, pretty much.
You have access to or you can download the backup, but of course, I mean, it has to be, or you can download directly from the admin console, right? The other option, of course, which is really fantastic, is of course Auto. Auto is, I mean, if you haven't tested Auto, it's a game changer completely. Because
okay.
We also that's one of the goodies we have also. We can install a script for you that you can just run from the schedules of the server. It's a system script, and you just upload your new file inside a specific folder you have in the FTP. You have a drop zone where you can upload files, and then you can just place the new file inside the folder, run the script, and the script will detect the file to be changed. It will close the old file, move it to a backup folder, and just put your new file online. That allows you to just run the data migration on your side and re-upload the file. But you know that if you delete the file from FileMaker Server, from the admin console, all the containers will be lost. So you will have to upload the file with all the containers, which can be very long. So there you can just upload the FMP file and it will just replace it with the new one.
Yeah, this is very handy if you have many containers or very large files, rather than using FileMaker Pro's update dialog.
Yeah. Okay. What about the PDF generating? We've had some issues now that it's no longer supported by Windows. We've had to go to a couple Mac things. So generating PDFs on the fly, how is that handled on that?
So server side, this is one of the areas where we still, and that's nothing to do with FMCloud.fm, but with the Linux version of FileMaker Server, when we're still not exactly as on the same level as a Mac OS server or a Windows server. Basically, it works pretty well. I mean, it works very nicely, except the fonts are rendered slightly differently. There was supposed to be an improvement in FileMaker Server 2023. From what I could test, I did not notice a major difference, but I couldn't say. Maybe I didn't test the right case. But so there are less fonts supported on the Linux side, and the rendering is slightly different. That's something you have to know indeed.
But is it if we match the fonts to what's available on Linux, then it's a complete success?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, and now yes, it works just the same way. So FileMaker Server is able to generate PDF. Since 2023, even the data API is able to do so, which is like a major thing if you think about it, like what can be done with that. And yes, it works really well. Very often people don't know how to use that, because it's very nice the fact that the server can generate a PDF, but then people don't know what to do with this PDF. I want it back to my database. And that's not very well documented, I think. So the general idea is, if you have a server-side script that generates a PDF, then you need to insert it somewhere. And you need to insert it using insert from URL, because insert file is not server compatible. Once you know this, then it's really straightforward.
Thank you.
I have applications that send out PDF invoices all the time, so I've not run into any issues with doing PDFs, because they're not anything very intricate or elaborate. So but certainly I didn't have any problems when I moved over to FMCloud. The PDF was not an issue. So I do have a question regarding PDFs. One of the things that I was absolutely just so excited about with 2023, and I installed it on my home development server and was playing around with it, and I dropped a PDF into a container, and it generated the preview image for a PDF, which Windows has never been able to do. And so for me, that was just a great, pleasant surprise that all of a sudden my PDFs dropping into a container were generating that preview image. But then when I upgraded to 2023 on the server with you guys, it does not work. So is that something that's ever going to happen?
I must say, I'm myself confused now about, there are so many factors that may differ from whether you use insert PDF or insert file. If you use drag and drop, if you use insert from URL, if the container you're dragging the PDF is optimized for PDF or for image. There are so many factors. Or if you set a field that with a PDF that was previously stored in a variable, for instance, all these can result in what has become for me unpredictable result. I don't know. I don't know. I have to test every time. There should be a table of all the possibilities because I don't know. And indeed, I know that the drag and drop is improved now. There's this image generation on Windows.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, in some cases, it doesn't work anymore on the Mac, from what I heard.
Oh, wow.
So, and it has always worked, but now it doesn't. So, and unfortunately, I'm not able to answer to that. It was a very...
That preview issue is overcome with on server. If you insert the file and use base 64 encoding and decoding, it will work. And I forget which way I had to do it. Then it works 100% of the time.
Is that on Linux or Windows or?
That's under Mac.
Under Mac.
But it shouldn't make any difference under the platform.
Yeah, now what I do, I think, is I insert the file, but that's by script, of course, into a variable, and then set the field. And with that, I think I can have quite a consistent result.
Yes, yeah, and I'd use that with the base 64 encode, and then it works.
Indeed.
Also, I'm kind of curious, now that you guys offer auto, and you said you can actually get your licensing for auto through you guys and all that as well. Is that like a 4-server license, or how does that work?
We have a host deal with them, and that allows us to have a very, very decent price on their license, and of course you benefit from that. And also there's no term commitment.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is if I were just a fresh new customer and I chose to get auto through you guys, and so now my server on FMCloud has auto, but if I've got a server on like at home, a development server that I'm going to be migrating from, that also needs a license. Is that part of that, or is it just one machine?
No, I think we can do it. Romain, can you confirm that? So to install,
yes, it's a license per server, and yes, we can resell license for your own servers.
Okay, so you can get multiple machine licenses in that in the package. I know, I believe their base price is 4 machines on their when you get auto directly from Proofgeist. It's I think the 4 machine is the lowest one you can get. But
I think it's 3. The base price is for 3. If I remember.
For 3, yeah.
I'm not even sure.
What I can tell you is our price. It's $20 per month per server. That's if we provide the license. If you already have a license, then it's already 50.
Yeah.
So that's
kind of curious because a couple of years ago when I moved my servers to you guys, that was one of the things that was a deal breaker, whether or not I could have auto installed. And I don't think you guys. I'm wondering if that was the first time you did have auto installed, was when I asked for it.
Yeah, probably.
It might be. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, actually, there was no such deals with hosting licenses at the time, so it was but now, yes, we can deploy you. It takes a click of a button, so
that's exciting.
So here we are. I don't know if you have any further questions, or
I know eventually here I'm have not yet carved out some time to play with Claris Pro and Claris Server and Claris Studio and all that, but it's really good to know that when I'm ready to kind of get into the Claris products, that the hosting is available through you guys, because that's probably exactly what I'll do is go through you. So.
Good idea. And the licensing is available too.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess as a partner you have a license already, but
yeah.
some of my clients, I have them on a contract. It's just a maintenance contract, and it covers the whole thing. So being able to get the license and the hosting all in one place, because I charge them for the whole thing. That saves me money, and it adds to my margin, my profit with that client. So that's great.
Yeah, I mean, indeed, we have a base price which allows, I think, the partners like to do some business with that, which is completely fair, I think.
I mean, even your regular prices are cheaper than setting up a host, buying a
Oh, yeah.
license, and sticking it on there.
Just last week I had. I mean, we've been running this for 3 years now, and last week I just had to install a Windows server on a Windows machine, like for the first time in maybe not 3 years, but like a long time.
Let me guess, it's because it was a plugin that they had to have.
And like I remembered, just press okay, and then it finishes. But all the things you've got to manage, prevent antivirus, well, make sure that the PC does not go, does not go in sleep mode, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
It just took me like an hour and a half altogether. And I was saying, like, gosh, I'm going to charge him what I would have charged him for a year of hosting. And it is not even, that's not even matching the quality and performance that it will get. There's no offsite backups with that, and so on and so forth. So it goes like very quickly. It's really, when I say it's cheaper than a local server, it's true. I mean, it's really, it doesn't. And by far, I would say.
Well, especially if you have to pay for a tech guy to maintain it for you. That ups your cost a huge amount. Whereas I can just turn it over to you guys and you take care of it.
Yeah.
Now, you said you installed.
Sorry.
You said you installed the Windows install for the first time in a long time. Was that because of a plugin?
No, it was because of some context, like people working really off the internet and really wanting we're really wanting this Windows to be installed. So okay, that was a deal.
Do you find that we talked about some particular company that has a lot of plugins in the past that they were not Linux compatible. Do you see that more and more of those are coming over to Linux?
Actually, no. Well, I guess okay. You're not wanting to say names, so I understand. Yeah, I think one of them is somehow, blocked by, I don't know what really component, because they have some versions that run on Claris FileMaker Cloud. I mean, if you're thinking about the same.
Yes, the first one, not the new one, the old one.
Oh yeah, the old one, indeed. So I don't know the details of why they can't make a Linux plugin, but no, we don't see so many plugins. But what we see is that about 100% of the requests are covered. If you allow me to say a few names, people are asking us for MBS, of course, base elements, mail it. That I think.
What was the last one?
Mail it.
Oh yeah.
And I think that covers about almost 100% of the requests we have, and they are all Linux compatible.
That works. Yeah, that covers most everything. There's other companies that make things that are really specific, but you're right. Base elements and MBS really cover the world.
We have a page on the website. If you go to fmcloud.fm/FileMaker-plugins, I think, then we try to maintain the list of compatible plugins. If you want me to share my screen again, I might be able to find that again. Yeah. I don't know if you can read that URL.
That's good.
And here we try to maintain a list. So we have MBS, Goya. Beeswax has also published some Bbox, which is also very useful. I think probably underestimated. XMChart is also compatible, and MirrorThink is by 360works. And a couple more, 2024U has a Toolbox is compatible. So you see there are some.
Good.
And actually, yeah, really it covers about 100% of the requests we have.
Do you know of, I don't see any there that are credit card plugins.
Recording in progress.
Echo. I think credit card plugins should be mostly installed on the client side, isn't it?
Well, sometimes you want to do it in a perform script on server, so you can control the environment where it happens.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like with plastic or so. Plastic is not
right.
Linux compatible.
Right.
No, indeed.
But I more people should be switching to the APIs anyway. Because it's only slightly more work than with plastic.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Well, that answers my question big time. That's great. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, for anybody who wants, I posted the URL in the chat because I found it right away.
Oh, from your description. You have information from other plugins that you find information about. I'm really happy to publish it on that page.
Okay.
I actually just did the research for the ones that were requested by customers. That's it.
Oh, I know the other place you want to run credit cards on the server is like if you're using WebDirect. So
yeah, indeed.
Yeah, because that's
but even then,
basically the same thing as perform script on server.
But even then, you can use the webhooks and with the APIs, and this is another very good reason to use Auto. It's very easy to create webhooks.
Oh, okay.
It's a very nice feature of that. So I don't know if we have more questions or.
Are you still finding that the difference between the Windows servers and the Linux servers is still massive performance-wise?
Honestly, I'm not so much testing that anymore because there's they
won the war.
No, it's not. I mean, I know that when it was released, we found out that for some tasks, Windows was faster, and for some others, Linux was. But that's basically not the main point. The main point is that with Linux, we can go to Docker, and Docker allows us to give you so many more resources that for the same cost, the performance does not compare. But it's not really linked to the Windows against Linux thing. It's a different.
Oh, it's Windows against Docker.
Yeah, it's the rest of the world against Docker, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, nobody can host on Mac anymore because they don't make machines that are capable of hosting much. So.
And that's a bit expensive, to have a Mac just to host it. And now that we are on a recording, I have to say that Docker was developed originally by a French guy in the city of Montrouge. And Montrouge is just next to Paris. It's a suburb. And that's where I grew up. So you see, it was some kind of destiny.
Local hero.
That's pretty
It could have been
nice.
you.
That's a great story.
That's pure. I just learned that recently, so it's just pure coincidence.
Still nice.
Nice. Well, it must be a hotbed for tech innovation there, huh?
Well, I don't know if there is any other. Actually, as
Well,
he is now in the Silicon Valley, so
That's great.
Fabrice, I have an interesting observation that we discovered recently. If you remember, we were having some trouble with some list views in WebDirect.
yes, I
And
remember.
those list views included.
I will never forget it.
Yeah, it's still something that we kind of work around a bit. But one of the issues that we were having most had to do with portals and list views that display a container, like a thumbnail image, because we work in advertising, and so each record has like a little ad that's attached to it. And we recently found out that it was breaking when those images, they're JPEG images, but they were CMYK versus RGB.
RGB.
So because it was, a print projects and stuff like that,
Sure.
that they were being built in Photoshop and saved as CMYK. And that's where the list view was just fumbling all over itself. And then one day, because, we have two different locations using the same database, the exact same database, and the two locations were having different results, and we couldn't figure it out for the longest time until we figured out that the one office, their standard was to save everything as RGB. The other office was doing CMYK. And so we took a large batch of ads and converted them to RGB and ran the test, and it was absolutely night and day.
Incredible. This issue was a Linux specific issue.
Yeah.
So did you report it to Clarence?
I have not. I have not yet. We just did that a couple of weeks ago, and I've been kind of waiting for some larger batches to test with. But so far, with a couple hundred images, the same found set with those images converted was.
I mean, if you identified it, you should report that. And that's
yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
So that was
like on the Mac, that could have been just a library issue. Just there's code on the Mac to do a lot of stuff. There's probably those libraries that do graphics issues are less mature. So it would probably require new code.
The phenomenon, the symptom was really, really weird. I remember you had some records on the list view that were just not rendered at all.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
yeah.
That was a Linux specific issue. We could reproduce. I mean, it's nothing to do with Docker. It was the Linux version doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. And sometimes it would just be a whole chunk of records of rows that were just not there, but then rows below it were there and rows above it were there. And it was, and it got pretty, we got to a point where this found set we were working with, we were just getting nothing. And so we went back to working on that issue and came across the difference being the ads. So
okay,
at least we got that resolved.
That could be tried. Did you try on the new 2023 version? Yeah, also?
Yeah, we have upgraded to 2023. I haven't checked in to see with that office to see if there's been any difference with the CMYK, because they've only been able to convert, there's thousands of ads now. And so we're trying to come up with a strategy for converting them all to RGB. So
because changing to the new version, we also changed to Ubuntu 20, and it did fix some weird issues we had on other things on WebDirect. For instance, we could not upload the files with accents, which is something we can see a lot in France. And so just switching to Ubuntu 20 fixed the issue with the same FileMaker version. So
yeah, I think we upgraded to 2023 on that server last week. So I just haven't had a chance yet to get back to it and see if that made any difference. So I'll look into that.
Yeah, otherwise I'll report that to you. I'm seeing Douglas Willis the next week in Berlin. There's a conference there.
Yeah.
So just tell me and I hit the nail.
Yeah, you're welcome to pass it on.
Okay. So if you don't have any more question, now I'm hearing the next generation of FileMaker developers screaming for food.
Thank you, Fabrice.
Thanks to you.
Yes, thank you,
Thank you
Fabrice.
for welcoming us again.
Yeah.
And shall we see you in Claris Engage early next week in February? You're from Kentucky. You're really not far.
It's in Texas.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm definitely going.
But consider to Belgium.
It's actually, well, yeah, but it's still like a 14-hour drive. You know, it's like 6 countries in Europe.
Yeah.
Is
I'll
this
be
so
there.
from Austin? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, from Louisville, Kentucky to Austin, Texas. So Austin is way down at the bottom of Texas, so it's a long way just across Texas.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I drove across Texas a month ago. From El Paso to Houston is like 14-hour drive, and that's at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And you're still in one state.
Yep, still in one state.
Okay. Well,
you could go from the old Soviet Union to England in that amount of time.
But yeah, I will see you there, Fabrice. I definitely intend to go this year.
Okay, good. So, see you there then.
Oh,
all right.
See you there. Well, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for making our life a whole lot easier, okay?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then we can